Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So OCG Metagame breakdown for, what is it, half of February, early February 2024. So let's take a look. I think it has been about 2 weeks ago, last that I did this one, but a couple of notable changes. So compared to the last time, we can see some impact of the most recent OCG set being Legacy of Destruction, right? Legacy of Destruction with, you know, new additions, looking at Melodious, looking at new Tenpai dragons. And speaking of Tenpai, that's the newest archetype to look forward to here in this particular video. So again, all the links will be in the video description. The current breakdown of past couple of weeks. Any notable changes? Not really. We've seen Fire King going a little bit more, like over 30%, but sitting about 20-25% now. So about a fourth of the deck list here being Fire King / Snake Eyes. Again, doesn't really come with a surprise if we take a look at the current OCG, you know, Forbidden and Limited list is pretty much the best deck currently in the OCG, even though it's not, you can't really call this tier 0, like, look at that, there are so many decks competing for, you know, like, top spots in the current OCG metagame, and same for the TCG. I mean, okay, it's a bit different though, but still, Fire King's only 25, that's not really that much compared to, you know, tier 0 formats with, for example, Spirals, right? Back, when was it, 2017, when Spirals was almost the entire chart. So that's besides the point. So Fire King followed by Voiceless Voice, again, no surprise. And then Pure Snake Eyes followed by, you know, road decks, but close. I mean, all of these decks, looking at Tenpai Dragons, for example, Centurion, Melodious even, with a couple of locks in there as well, they have chances to be tier 1 competitive. So the first list, very quickly, because, you know, most of these lists aren't really new. Again, very similar to Jesse Cotton's list from the UDS we saw a couple of days ago, past weekend, with, I feel, the Fire King engine almost at an absolute minimal. I think Jesse was only running double Kirin, yeah, and one Fire King Island, and one Fire King continuous spell to search Fire King Island, and that's something that we see here in the OCG as well. Other OCG lists, as I've seen past couple of hours, adding in more Imperm over that, but 40 card Sharp and only one Flame Birch. Seems reasonable, right? They have Maxi still. That's again a big difference. The only notable card here is the one in the side deck being Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre being super versatile, and already mentioned the archetype being Tenpai Dragon, you know, the dragon archetype that's able to OTK during the battle phase, you know, special summon and establish their board during the battle phase, so no Nip. Nip is useless pretty much against that deck. Well, there are some variations, more of that in a couple of moments, but as a whole, there are probably better hand traps, and the Ghost Ogre is there, better against a larger variety of the metagame. So Ghost Ogre, keep an eye out for that. Next one, this is Voiceless Voice. No surprises other, I guess, than Ghost Bell in the main deck. Ghost Bell seems an obvious pick because it hits a lot of graveyard-oriented decks / cards / strategies. Plus, most importantly as well, because Call by the Grave is at 2 in the OCG, Ghost Bell also protects you from that. So it kind of makes sense, main decking Ghost Bells, especially from the, you know, when you're, I guess, piloting Voiceless Voice, protecting your low. The third deck being Snake Eyes, Pure Snake Eyes. And Snake Eyes, with the most recent deck, they got a new tool. What is it? Snake Eyes Diablo Star. Yeah, very similar to, I guess, your OG Diablo Star, which, I mean, she's obviously a Snake Eyes card, so I think the most notable interaction is obviously because of the field spell. You can place your Diablo Star Snake Eyes into the spell and trap card zone, special summon her, and then place, what is it? I think it's a fire monster from your graveyard face up in your spell and trap card zone, and, you know, potentially use it for Tribute, Bait, or Father for your Snake Eyes combos, right? So again, that's nothing new. But I guess that's pretty nifty, seems pretty much a staple in basically any Snake Eyes deck. So, you know, I mean, let's not forget, it's also a body on field to, you know, it's, I guess, making link summoning much easier, and an OG and old school combo card from Snake Eyes as well, and earlier with Sprite is Midnight Early. more monster negations, I guess, but it found its way back into the main deck. Another most notable thing is that obviously this new Snake Eyes Diablo Star card is a spellcaster, so that makes Selene definitely a notable card to put in an extra deck next to one Promethean Princess. So that seems, you know, I think the best. One Promethean Princess, one Selene, to upgrade for potential Exoscope Tarker Zealantis shenanigans. Other than that, that's, I guess, I think that's pretty much it. Cyclone Heavy Storm. Storm. Okay, last but not least, we have this one, Tenpai Dragon. This was kind of almost expected, because Tenpai Dragon, the fact that they're like a super OTK oriented deck, they can establish their board by going into the battle phase, and that kinda makes your Nibiru pretty useless against most of the interactions and most strategies of the deck. But this is the build that featured here on Road to the King was the more Dragon Link oriented deck, a small Dragon Link package, and I've seen some combos, and most of the time Tenpai is a deck you obviously want to go second, again relying on the OTK. And second is, if your opponent knows that you're playing Tenpai, they might let you go first, because, it's not really a strategy, you want to pilot going first. But, people, we are now a couple of weeks into the new format, and people have been adapting their lists, looking at these Dragon Link variants, like going first, what is it, they end on Boral End, no monster effects, etc., and Boral Savage as an Omni negation, so that's really nice. Plus, most competitive decks nowadays, especially in the OCG, they rely on monster effects to clean your opponent's board, and Boral End just says no to that. So that's pretty solid, and this baffled me. Kaiser Colosseum is still legal in the OCG, and let's say the card is super versatile. Obviously, you don't want to go first, but if your opponent lets you go first, you can just go for Kaiser Colosseum with Hieratic Seal, right? Your opponent can only go for one monster as well to match your amount of monsters, and Hieratic Seal can replenish itself by, tagging out, bouncing back, and put another monster from deck on field. And that's a cool interaction. So imagine, and also mentioned here on Road to the King, imagine your opponent gets rid of your, heavenly spheres, Hieratic Seal. You could potentially drop Phantasme as soon as they link summon, so you still have that one monster on field to block them from establishing their board. So short set, just ban Kaiser Colosseum. Why is it still there? So kind of nifty, this variant. There are other variants, the ones you see here, and yes, look at this. Another variant that caught my attention was the Morphtronic Cellphone OTK/FTK, pretty much FTK. The thing is that, and as you see here in this particular combo, we'll leave a link in the video description, is that this is kind of consistent, because everything is basically searchable off of the most of the main deck engines, and it gives the deck a reliable 1 card and a half combo, FTK combo, using, what is it, Ultimate Baseball Kit. It's basically a it's not new, the card has been out pretty much ever since the beginning. What is it, Soul of the Duelist, I think? Years ago. But it's basically, it serves the same purpose as Cannon Soldier, burning your opponent to death, basically, by sacrificing cards. And yeah, your Morphtronic engine, as you know, keeps that intact, so it's kind of nifty. And sure, it might not be the most consistent deck, but it's like, people piloting this is most of the time, you're feeling overconfident against those decks. It probably won't happen to you, but in tournaments you'll be facing that guy, and they'll combo over you and play through one of your own hand traps, and maybe you only open one hand trap. So it's not a good sign that this is legal. Anyway, so that's basically it for Road of the King. A couple of other deck lists quickly. Most notable one here, Centurion. They also got more support. A new level 8 that recurs itself back from the graveyard. It's actually solid support. But as you saw here in the most recent OCG Forbidden and Limitless, Calamity is banned. And that's a huge tool. It's kind of scary that also this deck is running Kaiser Colosseum in the main deck. Yes, not banned. Another one is Sky Striker. And Sky Striker also got more support. And I think, what was it? Well, Engage went back to 3, right? And hardly anyone is playing Sky Striker. Too slow, maybe? A lot of hand traps. Hard to see they got more support. I'm not so sure about the new support that kind of facilitates link summons, link 4 plays, but that's not the best, even though they have triple Engage. as a, if you're a Sky Striker player in a TCG, you could dream, of that. Another one is Spiral. Going second Spiral, is that what I read? Not so sure about that, but with the Horus package, I mean, Horus kind of vanished from the format, obviously, right, because of the fire decks, but they still have Master Plan. Yeah, kind of makes sense. And then should be one of the last ones being, I guess, branded. Oh yeah, they only have one branded fusion, but they have Maxi, so it kind of, that's one of those strange things, right? TCG, OCG, branded fusion at 3 versus branded fusion at 1. It is what it is. The last, no, 2 ones, because there was it a new Ancient Gear that was revealed earlier today? In the new V-Jump, I think? I'm not so sure. No effects, but Ancient Gear is kind of scary with the new support as well. I've played the deck, I've never made a video about that, but it's kind of scary. It has new tools. Keep an eye out for this, for Ancient Gears. I don't know, it's kind of scary. Like, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of okay. It has potential. But I mean, machines, camera tech, the standard weaknesses. And then last, Runic was also one of those decks that featured or was featured in the pie chart, but as you know, the OCG is always playing Runic with floodgates. Like, look at this. Nobody wants to play against that, but first place Runic deck list, by the way. So this is the current OCG format. Very similar to the TCG, and I'm looking at, the best decks currently. And it's probably, it takes another ban list, it needs another ban list to make other decks top tier again. And I'm looking at the fire decks mainly, right? Being targeted by a potential next forbidden and limited list. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Riddim signing out. Peace.